Alright, what is up, disc golfers? Today on Iceberg TV, I thought it would be really fun to do a theoretical Simon Lizotte MVP in the bag. And I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, and I know it's not confirmed that Simon's leaving or staying. I've heard recent rumors that he's actually probably going to be staying with Discmania, but also there's still so much chitter chatter around Simon going to MVP. So I want to do a quick theoretical in the bag for Simon, and I'm wondering what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. How do you think I did? Do you think I replaced Simon's Discmania bag well, or do you think that I don't know what I'm talking about with MVP discs? We are going to start off with the putter. We have the first throwing putter being the Envy. This is going to be that sort of replacement for the Sky God, the C-Line P2, a disc that Simon can carry, two or three of, one baseline and one premium or glow, that he can put on those big Annie putter turnover lines. He can throw those nice little floaty, runs from 150 to 200 feet. It's going to be that workhorse throwing putter that Simon can count on. And I think this would probably be something he leaned into. But if he didn't lean into that, or if he does lean into that, I think he would also really like the MVP Atom. I think this could be a great replacement for the P1 Ace or the Discmania P1X, something that he can get a little bit more flip out of. And I also think this would be Simon's main putting putter. It's just a nice, comfortable, floaty, reliable putter out of MVP that I think is very underutilized. The Atom feels super comfortable in the hand. It's very easy to putt with, and it comes in a ton of different plastics. Really great throwing putter and putting putter is the Atom. Now for that more overstable putter option, specifically for those forehand needs, you're not going to see Simon, forehanding an Envy very often or an Atom. So when he needs to upshot to the basket with the flick and he's not too far away, I think the Entropy would be the perfect option for that. Something a little bit more reliable and overstable. And that brings us into the mid-range category. We have the Reactor. I think this would be Simon's workhorse mid-range. It doesn't have a similar feel to the Mindbender, but I think Simon would get a similar flight out of this to the Mindbender. Nice, he can get, again, several different plastics. He can have a flippy one. He can have a glow one that's going to be probably a little bit more overstable. He has that straight shot. He has the flippy turnover one, and then he has maybe the slightly more overstable one for those headwind situations. But when the headwinds get a little too severe, maybe at the DDO or something, that's where this beast of a disc comes in. We have the Deflector here. Now the Deflector is just that ultimate beefcake, just overstable mid-range that can handle all the torque in the world. It's probably slightly less stable than the Mutant, but it's pretty darn close, and these things are flat. They feel comfortable in the hand. It's a time-tested mold that, again, right alongside the Atom, is I think one of MVP's more underrated discs. This is one of the best overstable mid-ranges on the market. And I think between the Reactor and the Deflector, he's going to have a straight, a flippy, and a stable. I don't really think Simon needs any more mid-ranges than that. I just don't think it's going to be necessary. He's just going to have a fat stack of Reactors that he's going to be hitting those aces with. That brings us into the fairway drivers. His workhorse fairway probably would be the Volt. This is going to be something that he also likes to use as a roller disc as well. So probably carrying, two, one in a flippier version, one in a more overstable version for throwing. So one for the ground and one for the air. I think this could replace that S-Line FD that he's using for rollers, but also kind of handle the rest of those fairway driver needs. And when the Volt's not quite stable enough, we break out the James Conrad Terra, which is a little bit more overstable, one speed faster, can handle that torque of a power thrower. We've seen James throwing this thing very well the last year, and I think Simon would throw this disc as well. Very reliable. Simon likes to put that sort of, pick his chest up and throw those backhand flex lines. It's a little bit slower than the FD3, but I think he would get similar shot shapes out of it. And I feel like in Simon's case, most case scenario, he doesn't really need a 9-speed. He probably more needs that 8-speed. But when he does want something a little bit faster, that's where the inertia comes in. He can get that nice, controllable hyzer flip distance, not have to throw the disc too hard. If he's worn down after playing a bunch of tournaments, he wants something that's a little easier to, just pump it out and let it glide. That's where the inertia comes in. And the overstable utility disc, another massively underrated disc out of MVP, is going to be the Motion. These things are mean, they are flat, they are skippy, and this is the ultimate utility disc. This is one of the most, if not the most, underrated overstable utility 9-speed on the market. It's way less glidey, way more overstable than like a Raptor. Sits right alongside the Firebird, probably a bit more overstable than the Firebird. And this is that disc that, you can chop those overstable forehands on, full power backhands on Anheuser, and the Motion can handle that. No matter who you are, even Simon Lizotte, I think, could throw near full power shots on either flat or even maybe a slight Annie with the Motion and be able to get away with it. So this is that ultimate utility disc. Between this and the Deflector, I think Simon would be in really good shape as far as that overstable utility disc slot. Now, as far as his distance drivers, that's where I get a little more, on the fence. From the Volt to the Inertia brings us into the Catalyst. I think Simon would really like the Catalyst more for those forehand lines. I think as far as max distance forehands, that's not Simon's strong suit. Simon is a backhand guy, and as a backhand guy, I think the Catalyst probably isn't going to be stable enough for him. I also think maybe getting a wave in for the backhands might be a good choice, but I also don't think that would be stable enough for him. That's the one biggest hole, I think, in MVP's game. I'm not sure if they have that perfect driver for Simon Lizotte. So what I have chosen for him for his forehand is the Catalyst, and for the backhand, we have the Teleport. I personally have thrown the Teleport, and for my backhand, it was way too overstable for me. I could get some good forehand, Annie flexes out of it. But I think, just starting off, I think if Simon's, wanting to release these things on hyzer, then I think the Teleport would suit him until he finds or designs a distance driver on his own. But I think Simon throwing MVP would be really exciting. It would shake the disc golf world up like never before. The only sort of significant move of this caliber that we've ever seen would be Paul moving from Innova to Discraft, and I think this move would be equally as substantial. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below what you think would be in Simon's bag. All of you MVP fans, feel free to comment and tell me why I'm wrong about what disc Simon would be throwing. Comment down below. I appreciate all the interactions you guys have been giving us lately, and it's been really fun. It's been really motivating, and I'm gonna do my best to give you guys all this off-season content. And then as the season gets underway in February, we'll sort of transition back into true content. But anyway, check out my sponsors, bergsdiscsports.com, and the link to that is in the description below. Use code ICE10 for 10% off your order. You're watching Iceberg TV, and take care.